911 captivates audiences with its intense emergencies and high-octane action sequences. But behind those thrilling moments lies a team of experts, orchestrating every move, coordinating complex stunts, and ensuring everything looks real. Today at Collider, we'll go behind the scenes of the stunts on the hit show. The master behind the magic of stunts on the show is Mark Vansalo. In Season 1 alone, he took on as much as any stunt coordinator could: an oceanic plane crash, apex predator attacks, collapsing buildings, and more. He previously worked with Ryan Murphy, the executive producer and creator of the show, on his American Horror Story franchise, and learned to collaborate with a huge team to bring visual terrors to the screen. Joining Mark were production designer Jeffrey Massa, special effects coordinator James Lorimer, fellow stunt coordinator Tim Davison, and a team of artists at Fuse FX. Together, they brought cinematic-level stunts and visuals to the small screen. Everybody's constantly trying to push the envelope as far as what we can do, but everybody, particularly from Ryan's team, is always behind how can we do it safely, Mark says. Well, it takes a lot of rehearsal, pre-planning, and coordination. While stunt professionals were always on hand for most of the stunts implemented, two of the most harrowing stunts in Season 1 were executed in camera with actors new to stunt work. In one episode, a boa constrictor suffocates a young woman, and in another, a malfunctioning roller coaster leaves patrons hanging upside down. Vansalo took on the role of Connie Britton's 911 dispatcher, in real time helping the actors navigate their emergencies. For the snake scene, the stunt actress practiced with a prop snake before bringing the real snake. The team spent a lot of time building trust between the animal trainers, the stunt team, and the actor. Eventually, the actress would practice with the real snake to build trust between herself and the live animal, with the rest of the crew all around her biting their nails. But with practice came perfection. This allowed the team to trust working with animal actor trainers and performing more stunts with animals. The real challenge came when the team decided to work with real-life tigers. In the scene, a tiger traps a dentist in its enclosure at a zoo. The team has to rescue the dentist, but without hurting the large animal. Production had two different tigers that were brought to set and stood in for the ferocious cat. They used insert tigers for after the tiger is tranquilized. The team shot on location at an actual zoo in Santa Barbara, without the tigers there, and then shot in Griffith Park with the actual live tigers. Says Vansalo of the experience, everybody, the AD department led by First AD Nicole Burke, had to wrangle that and keep everybody safe. Animal stunts aren't the only ones seen in the show. The ideas the writing team comes up with aren't imaginary. The team consults and interviews actual first responders and searches for viral stories online. For example, the baby stuck in the pipe? It happened in 2013. And the snake constriction mentioned earlier? It happens to snake owners more than you can imagine. And the bouncy houses that have taken flight with kids inside? Yep, that's happened. Multiple times. As mentioned earlier, the roller coaster stunt was a popular one with fans. This stunt used a mixture of visual and practical effects to make the result look authentic. The actual scene was shot at Scandia, a small theme park chain found in California. The team shot on the actual roller coaster, which notably doesn't have a loop on location. The theme park is located right next to a freeway, so the team shot at 3 a.m. when dew sets in and everything gets a little bit wet. Lorimer worked with Massa to create an effects piece that could lay in the actual track to create the loop. Vansalo says, "It was basically like if you took a coin and flipped it on edge each time. The actors and stunt people were loaded in it, and it would rotate 180 degrees and hang them there." The actor who is seen hanging was not a stunt double. The stunt team had conversations with him early on, and the actor himself decided to do all of his stunts. He spent a lot of time in the harness with the production team, talking him through the action. It allowed the audience to get right in there with him and feel exactly what he was experiencing. One standout sequence that was difficult to choreograph involved an Indian wedding where the floor caves in, leaving the attendees trapped beneath the rubble. Davison was the lead stunt coordinator for that particular episode. There were about 25 to 30 stunt actors who doubled as the partygoers. An effects rig was custom built for the scene that was able to fall at perfect timing and perfect level. The stunt team tested it several times before bringing the stunt actors on set, and they just went for it. The result is a very dynamic instance of true stunt work. There were no wires or cables at all, and the stunt people pretty much just dropped out of the sky. Another standout sequence is the fiery plane crash early in the series. Vansalo says that this sequence in particular shows the beauty of the 911 team coming together. A carcass of a plane was bought and cut up into sections and shipped to the filming location. The location was a purposely built lake that was dug out, lined with tarps, and then water hosed in. When the plane pieces arrived, Lorimer worked with his team to create a safe way to hold the fuselage where the main action was to be shown. The other pieces came in and moved around based on the rehearsed choreography of the stunts, which took hours to complete. The results showed the stunt performers in the cold water, jumping out of the plane with another dynamic scene in the books. When the trailers for Season 3 dropped, the show promised fans a massive tsunami wave emergency that would overtake Santa Monica Pier. The premiere episode detailed the events of a tsunami in real time, the signature water retreat that comes before a tsunami, and then a massive wall of water that slams into the pier and streets of Santa Monica. While most viewers thought the waterworks were a product of CGI, co-creator and executive producer Tim Minear told news outlets that the scenes involved practical effects that were perfectly executed on location. The sequence was shot in water tanks in Rosarita, in Baja California, the same studio where flood scenes for Titanic were filmed back in the 90s. The production design team built a replica of Santa Monica in the sound stages with the water tanks. Minear explained that when the actors and background players are in the tank, they're actually in 42 inches of ocean water, but with the cameras set up in specific locations, it gives the illusion that it's much deeper. He explains, when you flood the tank, you have your actors being pulled down with 42 inches of raging rapids. It looks like it's 7 or 10 feet of flood street. The actors are working against the real environment around them, and you can't beat that. Additional filming took place in Pomona, California, where the art department dropped a ton of debris on the streets of a neighborhood for the rescue scenes. Sometimes, even with safety divers and stunt crew available on site, injuries are bound to happen. Actress Ronda Rousey, who was new in Season 3, almost lost her finger when a boat door fell on her hand. But on-set medics took care of it, and she was back to work the very next day.
Helicopter went down, ended up on fire.
Dad got everyone out. He saved them.
While the cast is asked to perform extreme stunts like cliff jumps, underwater rescues, and walk through buckling streets after an earthquake, you'd think that a simple stunt like being lowered into a hole on a harness would be a piece of cake. Well, for star Ryan Guzman, it wasn't. The actor who plays fireman Eddie Diaz had to fight off claustrophobia in the middle of a freezing night on location. For context, this stunt took place in Guzman's standalone episode, which shows the audience more of Eddie's military service backstory in Afghanistan, where he was awarded the Silver Star for heroism. His son Christopher, played by Gavin McHugh, asks his dad to speak at a school assembly about how he earned the Silver Star, which harkens back to a rescue mission of a boy in a well. But filming those scenes was difficult for the claustrophobic actor. The hole was about 10 to 12 feet deep and 3 feet wide. The actor was hooked up to a harness that would lower him down. The harness is meant for you to lean back and it takes most of the weight on your backside, he says. I couldn't do that because I had to go straight down and I had a wetsuit on my costume because it was rainy and windy out. Because of that, all of his weight headed straight to his groin, all 185 pounds of him. He jokes, I had to tell my girl, I don't know if we're having any more kids. These risks by the cast are what make the show more authentic in terms of the emergencies that real-life emergency responders deal with.
You don't worry about the things that you can't do anything about. You focus on one task at a time.
Are you enjoying 911? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.